Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I'm Bozer. We're starting a little bit late tonight, and guess why? Technical difficulties. Yes, even solo without T, unfortunately he wasn't able to join us tonight. We're still having them, which kind of tells me that, am I the problem? Could be. But I'm glad you guys are all here with us tonight. I know it's been a couple weeks since we had our last Geek Out Sesh. I just got through one of those terrible busy times of the year. But thankfully, because it is December, I believe it was the last of the terrible busy times of the year. And now I can just sit here in the stream and mess with everything. And then when next time we go live, it'll all go away. And then I'll have to do it over again, like we did tonight. But if this is your first Geek Out Sesh, welcome. We do this each and every Monday night, except for the Mondays we don't. And we geek out with brand new geek guests from all over the spectrum of every geekdom, whether they're cosplayers, authors, artists, game designers, or tonight, candle makers that will immerse your senses, including your olfactory senses, through the storytelling itself. So thanks for being here. Keep hanging out. Drop any questions you have in the chat, and we're gonna have a good time. But I hope that your guys' holidays have been going really well. I think our last stream was prior to Thanksgiving, so I hope everyone had a marvelous Thanksgiving and are looking forward to an even more marvelous holiday season. Do you guys get any time off? Do you get to hang out? Do you get to chill? Moose is here. Hi, Moose. He says, how was the performances this weekend? That's why, like I said, it was a crazy busy time of the year because we had a show. For those that don't know, I work in the theater business, and every time we have a show week, I disappear from the channel. The shows went great, only a handful of hitches. It was an original show, which is not something we often do, but it was a special time of year, and it was actually really cool because it was bigger than the company itself. It kind of immortalized a really special place in the city and on behalf of the city. And so it was just cool to see the entire city rally around something that my theater was creating. So I was really proud to be a part of it. And it's going to live in eternity, probably in some sort of time capsule. But I'm not lying when I say I'm not mad it's over. Just because it was a crazy process, and I'm really looking forward to the break that comes at the end of the year. But thank you, Moose. Says also the new camera setup looks great. We're going to see if it doesn't crash the system like it did about 8 minutes ago. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. I know we're starting a little bit late, so we're going to cut the chit-chat a little sooner than normal and get right into tonight's topic and tonight's guests who are eagerly waiting in the wings, some of which are their first podcast. And I'm honored, and also I apologize in advance because I'm setting the bar very, very low. So you're welcome to all future podcasts that these guests go on to. And they're like, oh, this is what a podcast is? I'm kidding. But please welcome my guests tonight who are part of a really special project that since 2014 have been creating candles that you can light at your TTRPG table and really take your players and yourself and your story to the next level. When your players at the end of the game say, did we level up? You can say, yes, because I have a new candle. Please join me in a round of applause by welcoming Wyl the Wizard and Paul. I forgot the name that you're going by, Paul.
Platinum Prince.
Platinum Prince! As I dox you immediately on the internet. Welcome, you guys. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. How are you?
Doing good. Life's good.
I'm great.
I'm so grateful that you said yes to this interview and then said yes again after everything hit the fan mere moments ago.
No worries.
But for anybody that doesn't know who you are, please just give us a little brief description of who you are and what you do as a geek.
I'm Wyl the Wizard. I'm a candle maker, perfume maker, and recently a coffee shop owner.
Hey.
Paul Platinum Prince, as you should follow my socials. And me, I love to play games, collect Pokemon. Sometimes make a few bucks with them and buy some extra glizzies.
Glizzies. If you don't know what a glizzy is, you're too old for this channel. But really, this is super cool what you guys are doing. And I can't, like I was looking at your website today, and I missed the fact in my first round of research that you've been doing this since 2014.
Yeah.
So take us back to 2014. How did CandleQwest first even come to be a thing?
CandleQwest is a relatively new adventure.
Okay.
But I've been a candle maker since 2014. My first company was Solterra. There's these pyramid candles that I make. Let's see what here.
So these are the OG candles.
These are the OG candles right here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a lavender one here, like this black sage one here. But you could see like the sort of the marbleizing effect and stuff. So I've always been an artist, and used to draw and paint. But when I started crafting candles, I was really intrigued by like the smells and how you could mix different smells to create new ones, and just the infinite possibilities that lay before me when it came to the olfactory senses. So yeah, back 2014 we started making our first candles, and been burning a lot of candles ever since.
Burning at both ends, I take it.
Yes.
That's not the worst joke that you're going to hear tonight. But like, so you were an artist first. Like, what first prompted you to say, hey, candles, I'm going to jump into that scene?
Yeah. I think there's something special about candles. Nothing can replace them. You see those cheap little LED ones with batteries? Nothing can quite capture that real flame, And so I've always just had an interest in candles. I've always was a candle buyer and burning candles. And I thought and from the moment I made my first candle, I knew right there that that's what I wanted to do. That was my art form. And I haven't looked back. I've made some pretty incredible candles since then, in the last 11 years. So, yeah.
And then, Paul, how did you get roped into this whole thing? Were you also a candle enthusiast?
So, not exactly. I actually touch on it in our secret preview that no one knows about. But
The green room.
I was actually out on New Year's Eve downtown just with shenanigans, and Wyl knows the whole story on that. But he actually approached me out of the blue randomly and just introduced himself. I was like, wow, this is interesting. 1 a.m, someone random talking to me while I'm about to walk home, but hey, it's all cool. So he gave me a social, Instagram, and I looked at it and I was like, wait, these are actually pretty cool looking candles. And so I messaged him for a bit, and I said, hey, is there like, I said randomly, can I make a little extra money helping you with your socials or something? He's like, why don't you help me sell in Orlando? And I just jumped the gun and said, yes, I'll do it. And then I'm like, reality hit like 30 minutes ago. Wait a sec. What did I just agree to?
What New Year's drunken promise did I just make?
I know, right? It's like, I can't believe it. But Wyl didn't hesitate. He said, you know what? I'll even invite you to my candle factory. And then he showed me this amazing stuff. I met his chandlers, and he said, hey, you may not know it, but let me teach you. And I've gone through so many conventions and Renaissance fairs with so cool candles, meet amazing people. And honestly, I've learned like once you get decent at sales, it can be fun. It's exhausting, but I say it's rewarding. So that's my point of view of it.
This sounds like the sequel to some sort of like Willy Wonka. Like he invites you back to his candle factory. And then he said,
I know, right?
He took you up to his chocolate elevator. This all can be yours.
Yeah, yeah.
And when was this? What New Year's was that, Paul?
I remember it. This was January 1st, 2024.
Oh, so you're a fairly new add to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And your first podcast was ours. Wyl, you might need to look into his contract. No, I'm really glad you guys are here, but that's super cool that 10 years after you start making candles, Paul, Wyl, you meet Paul.
Yeah.
But like, I know nothing about candles except that they smell good when I light them, and I'm a candle fan. We always have candles in the house. But I don't know how they're made. So in a few minutes, I want to hear more about the process specifically. But the cool thing about the CandleQwest, these aren't just normal candles. Help us understand like what prompted, just from making candles, those kind of pyramids that you showed us a moment ago, to what you're doing now.
Yeah, so, the hero's journey, storytelling, these things I've long been fond of. I'm a storyteller myself, and I was thinking about the hero's journey and how it can sort of be related to smells. Like, imagine going on a hero's journey. You've read the story, sort of the template, but imagine if it was in scent form. And so it came to me in a dream, actually. And when I woke that morning, I had seen it. It was a mountain that burned down and kind of looked like a volcano, and each layer was a little different, and it incorporated these storytelling aspects like that you would find in the hero's journey. So that was definitely the moment that I came and discovered CandleQwest.
In a dream. And what did you eat before this dream?
What did I eat before the dream?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So whatever it is, I think we all need to have that meal, because this is a really cool thing that has been going on. What year was that when you had this dream of CandleQwest?
Ooh, this is probably 2022, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, if anybody goes to CandleQwest.com, which if you use command candle, you can go straight to it and learn more about these great candles that they're making. But like, they're not just a candle, right? Like you said, it's a hero's journey. So what about this candle makes that hero's journey?
So it starts with a story, and it starts with your hero, and you go through, obviously when you go on a quest, you got to have your best friend with you. In this
Obviously.
case, the Platinum Prince is one of mine. So in this story, our hero goes with his best friend, who's a frog or a totalope, and so there's a candle for that. And then together they go across the high seas with pirates, so it smells like pirates. Rum, tobacco, cannonball fire. They go through an enchanted forest of doom. Of course they do, because that's what every adventurer does.
Obviously.
And so you'll find those smells that you would find in an enchanted forest. Of course, they get lost, and you have to have your divine guide, of course, and this is the Wyl the Wizard. He's our little funny-smelling wizard who burns a lot of candles to try to cover up the smell of his but it doesn't work so well, and you've got to get those playful notes in that candle. And what would a story be without a dragon? It's many different forms. We decided to go with the cliche dragon, and it smells like dragon's blood and sort of dark earthy tones. And finally, to save a princess. So that's sort of in a nutshell the 7 candles that make up the hero's journey, that are inspired by the form and template of storytelling in the hero's journey sense.
So it sounds like the story that you're telling kind of has a template. So like, when your players or your consumers are purchasing these, do you have like a story? Because I know that you try to incorporate them as much as possible into like tabletop role-playing games. Like, is there a story that you have pre-built that people can follow along and follow these candles?
Well, what's beautiful about this story is its universality. Anybody can apply it to anything, and it really prompts the imagination, which the olfactory sense is incredible for doing, actually. And so it's a very there's no official story. it's actually something that can be it's malleable and can be applied to a couple different scenarios. So that's what makes it special. When we do the Renaissance festivals and things like that, we give our pitch, but all the people that have told the story, Paul and my brother Matty, and they all tell it their own way, as do I. I really like that everyone interprets the story in their own way, because I suppose in a lot of ways we're all living out our own hero's journey, and I think it's so applicable to uh, tabletop games, and it can really help people enter that world with a little bit of a sense of how stories are told and how they should evolve.
So are you guys tabletop role players yourselves?
Yeah, we definitely we love to play different tabletop games, and we have a game night here at the coffee shop that Paul's hosting. So yeah, we enjoyed tabletop games.
I just love the idea that I'm seeing this, forgive the phrase, kind of a renaissance where a lot of different spaces are trying to find a way to turn tabletop role-playing game into something even more immersive. And
Yeah.
I love that you guys are like at the forefront of this with the candles. I've not seen a candle do what your candles do, which, forgive me if I'm wrong, but don't they also include a treasure inside every candle?
They do. So inside of them, you'll find different little things. And one of them is the character pen. You know, 'cause everybody loves a pen to put on their hat or their shirt.
Duh.
But you also find some trinket or element of the story inside. So I like the idea of it going left or right. You know, so for instance, in the dragon candle, you might get a sword, and that means perhaps you slay the dragon. Or you might get a crystal skull, which means maybe she ate you. So it's kind of up for interpretation. Once again, this is going to prompt your imagination. And, you know, really at its core, it's humans telling stories around the fire, like we've done since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this reenactment of that. And it's special, and it really connects people in a new way, not necessarily just for a tabletop game, but just for anything. You know, if you have kids, or if you're burning it, you're watching a movie, you know, stories are being told all around us. So it's just a way to sort of complement that, and to sort of help us all engage in this storytelling process.
Well, when you were dreaming about it in 2024, what did you envision these candles were doing? Like, did you have a specific use in mind when you first came up with this idea?
I more or less had that vision of the mountain and seeing the wax sort of flow like lava. And we'll get into candle making, and it seems simple in theory. Well, you have wax, you have scent, you have dye, you have a wick, but it can be complex. There's a multitude of types of waxes and styles to get it to do certain things. And in the vision, it was this realization of how I could make this candle come to life.
I'm just learning there's different types of waxes.
Yeah.
Well, as you start to get into this candle making, like on the website, I'm entranced because, like, if you go to the command that Alex so graciously fixed for me, thank you, Alec. So now you can use command candle and go straight to CandleQwest. But you've got scents like hero, smells like coffee and bonfire and toasted marshmallow, Totalope, which smells like Toad's breath, the high seas, which smells like rum, tobacco, and cannon fire, enchanted forests of doom, smells like a mystic pine forest. Like, talk to us about how do you even create these senses that trigger those olfactory like emotions and memories in all of us that have the pleasure of smelling it, especially in a fantasy sense.
Yeah, the olfactory sense is really remarkable. You know, it's the first sense that we develop in our mother's womb. It's how we come to know our mother is through the smell. It's also associated with intuition. we use these expressions. Something doesn't smell right. This smells fishy to me. These all these all sort of lead to this idea that the nose or the olfactory sense has this, I don't want to say supernatural, but forgotten capability of interpreting reality. And so it can be so powerful to introduce a cool smell into an imaginative world. It can really elevate it in a way that you don't really realize how powerful it can be. So, I traveled a lot all around the world, and I'm I've always been peculiar. I'm the type of guy whenever I get some mail in or anything, I smell it. I'm like the guy that's always like smelling things. I'm curious, what it smells like. So I think those two things together, traveling and just having a curious nose, have sort of just laid the foundation for how I go about creating these scents and these worlds with these scents.
So then how do you actually create the scents like dragon's blood? When you
Yeah,
clearly, unfortunately or fortunately, we don't have dragons sieging our cities these days. So how do you know what
true.
dragon's blood smells like?
That's a great question. Um, so dragon's blood, in particular, it comes from a particular tree in Africa that when the sap, when you nick it, the sap that comes out is really a dark red color, and it has this peculiar musky smell to it. And so I don't know the technical name of the tree, but its nickname is dragon's blood. So
Interesting.
that particular scent is actually based on a real tree. Now, something like toad's breath, um, I have many jokes as to how I came up with that scent, but essentially, I think about where a toad lives, what kind of toad he is, and I'll blend base scents. I have roughly 500 different base scents that I use. And once you become familiar with them, you start building this sense with a base note, a mid note, and a top note. And it kind of gets a little more sophisticated after that, but it's a lot like constructing music. In fact, we call the different the different smells chords or notes. These are all terms that you hear in music.
That's right.
So it's very similar, same way that how you go about building a beautiful smell.
Now, Paul, in the green room previously, you mentioned that you had been to this mysterious candle factory. Like, I'm
Yes.
curious, when you walked in, like, describe for us from like a I guess a bystander's standpoint, those that wouldn't know what's happening behind the scenes. What was that like? What's going on? What did you see?
All right, I'll be upfront. I don't think even Will know this part. Is I literally just walk into the door. I had a visual and a scent like overload to the extreme. Like there were so many colors coming to my face, and then my nose was actually like everything is coming to me at once. I literally stood frozen, just like a deer in headlight, just staring at everything. I was like, what is all this? Finally, after about 10 minutes, like I calmed down and semi-normal, and Will literally sees me rush into the back. And I said, okay, wait, how can I play with this and that? And then like actually his head chandler at the time was saying, wow, this guy's excited. So like, I just wanted to learn and just already see what can I do. Being a chemist in the normal world, if you want to call it, is I just like to see how things can mix and match. And I learned, I just for a couple hours, I actually got to break down how to do it, and I fell in love even more. And essentially, I feel the visit at the factory is what made it permanent in my mind. Is like, oh my gosh, this would be so cool to do for years on end.
Well, there you go, Will. You need to start giving tours to the factory.
Yeah,
Maybe within, oh, here you go. Within 5 candles that are going to be sent out at random, there's a golden ticket
oh,
inside. And they get a tour of the candle factory.
that's brilliant.
And then it's all theirs once they get to the end. After
Yeah,
4 of them die
absolutely.
horrible deaths. How cool. How's your HR PR team? Just kidding. No, but like, what did you see, Paul? Like, I love that description of just you're being overrun with all of the scents all at once. But like, what was going on? What did you see people doing?
Okay, well, actually, first was before I saw people, because this is still my favorite part of any place I visited. On the back of the magical factory there's how do I say is these containers or that are storage boxes that contain a lot of his like scents and aromas. But the Chandlers who were there originally painted this awesome looking dragon that's what popped in my face. Where it's like, whoa, I see a flying dragon in the back, and I just kept staring at that, saying, this is the coolest thing ever. And then like me staring at that, and then all these scents overloading, I was like, whoa, what's going on? And then once I got a hold of myself, then like I said, I just ran to the back without even talking to anyone. It's like I worked there already, and then people are like, wait, what is this guy doing? So
You're like, don't worry, I'm with the owner. It's fine. So were you able to make a candle while you were there? Do you have an inspired scent?
Yeah, I had the honor of being taught by, at the moment, by his head chandler at the time. She was patient enough with me to walk me through every here he is. Walked me every step, and like I admit, when Will saw too, my hands were kind of like jittery, and I was still getting back to earth after that first experience. But I had my first pyramid, and I was just so excited. And we also had pizza afterwards, so I'm not gonna lie, I mean, food was good too.
Obviously. Am I seeing double, Will? Or did you...
You are. My phone totally died. I didn't realize how much energy it was taking. Is it okay if we're on one?
That's
like
fine. I'm just gonna move some things around real quick.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, this is totally trippy right now. Hey over there.
Actually, that's Dr. Drips.
Yeah.
Like, it honestly took me a second to realize that that was you. I'm like, oh, a third guest. Introduce us. But it's you.
I'm all right, sweet.
So, Will, I like you both together anyway. Will, what
Thanks.
was the very first scent that you created in CandleQuest?
The very first scent that I developed in CandleQuest, I really liked oceanic smells. So it was probably the high seas. I started off with that sea salt scent, and I was like, what does a pirate ship smell like? I'm thinking like wood, some teak wood. I'm gonna put some teak wood scent in there, and I'm like, this is cool. I got some ozonic flavors in there. I'm like, I want something to really like take this home. I'm like, all right, how about at the base, let's put a little cannonball fire, some smoky ash scent. So yeah, that was like, all right, cool. I'm like sort of really building this world here, and it's really cool when you tell people the scent and you could see, it register as they smell it, and it's cool. Yeah. So the high seas was the first scent that I really developed for CandleQuest.
Are you like a naval man? You a man of the ocean, a man of the seas?
One summer I did buy this old, pretty much abandoned boat, and I worked on it every weekend, and perhaps that's where some of my scent inspiration came from.
I think I can speak for the chat and everyone watching. We're not surprised. You seem like the very type of guy that would buy an old boat and spend an entire summer fixing it up, and then sailing the 7 seas, and then making candles the rest of his life.
Yeah. Unfortunately, right before the maiden voyage, we had a hurricane down in Florida.
No!
Here. And I know, I literally put the last screw into literally the last screw 3 days later. It was it.
You never sailed it?
I never got to take it into the ocean blue, man. Never did.
That might be the saddest thing I've heard all week.
Yeah. They made a
my
documentary about the hurricane and showed the boat like 4 or 5 times in the preview. So I can
Okay,
send
what
that
is
over to you
it?
if you want to have a
What's
look.
it called? Tell the chat.
It's called like Trouble in Paradise or something like that.
Okay, I'm writing it down. Trouble in Paradise, y'all.
Yeah.
And you can
Trouble in
see
Paradise, hurricane.
Will's boat. Oh, well, I'm so sorry to bring up such a terrible memory for you.
No, you know, it's all good. It is what it is.
Wow, okay. So I'm not over that personally. And I'm sure you're not even more. So I'm sorry, that was insensitive.
It's all good.
So then you lost your baby that you worked so hard on. You said, screw this. There must be something easier. I'm going to work on candles. And here we are today.
Yeah. Here we are today.
So you mentioned earlier, like dragon's blood is based on an actual sap from a tree. Do you source
That's right.
like the actual sap in the scent, or how did you go in recreating that very scent?
So usually you'll buy them from sort of a scent manufacturer, a fragrance manufacturer. I do make perfumes too. And for that, I would get the actual sap and distill it myself. But the cost and the time goes up considerably. So that's a whole nother sort of arena of scent making. Still very fascinating. But for the candles specifically, I source most of my fragrances from a scent manufacturer, and then I blend the scents myself to come up with our own unique original smells.
And what are we talking to, like percentage wise? When you're talking about a scent, like what I'm picturing is like when you go into a candy shop and you're filling a bag full of candy, like you get to pull down, you're like this many M&Ms, this many Skittles. What's that really look like in scent making?
In scent making, there's a bunch of cards, index cards, and I'll put just a dot of the scent, and I'll sort of fan it, and I'll sort of grab a few, and I'll fan them to sort of start building the aroma.
Oh.
And I'm looking for 3 key things: the base note, the mid note, and the top note. And it's interesting because our sense of taste is also very much linked to our sense of smell.
Right.
So, you know, it's like the top note is the very first thing that you smell. It's sharp. It's usually a citrus, like boom, first thing I notice. Followed by that is the heart of the scent, the mid note. And the base note is sort of what ruminates. Even after you're no longer exposed to the smell, it's still some sort of rumination that you can sense. Those are the 3 key elements I'm looking for when I'm building the base of the fragrance for the candle.
Now, is there a certain way, like when you have a wine, there's certain ways that you're supposed to like taste it? Am I gonna go upstairs after this?
Yeah.
After this Geek Out Sesh and never smell a candle the same ever again? Like, how am I supposed to aromate my nostrils?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So yeah, just paying attention to those 3 layers, those 3 key things. A good scent, you should be able to pick up. You should be able to say, okay, I can register something as the top, the first thing that hits me, and then followed by, you know, this base, the heart, which is the primary smell. And then, you know, as you walk away, pay attention. Is there some sort of lingering scent that stays with you? Yeah, you can. There's definitely a right way to do it. And to experience the candle or the scent.
I've never geeked out so hard about candles before, but you were doing it to me.
Yeah.
But like, okay, you made candles before and you got into it and you're like, great, I'm great at this. But describe the shift that went from just purely making candles that are cool on their own to making something that was very fantasy oriented and had a story and was the origin of CandleQwest.
Yeah, so it really was inspired by my own story, and once I really, you know, discovered the hero's journey and Joseph Campbell's work, I was going through a difficult time in my life, as we do from time to time. And oftentimes when you're in a struggle, you find a sense of meaning. You have to make it. You say, wow, maybe these things are happening to me for a reason. And so all that combined at that moment, I was like I was seeing how my own story was emerging through the hero's journey. And then in order for me like to transmute that, I had to create something. I have to make something to show what I'm going through, to help express it, to give it an outlet, if you will. And I'm already making candles every day. It's my life, so it just was like perfect timing. It really, I don't know. In a way, it's like my autobiography, if you will.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you really pointed out that the hero's journey as like the work, rather than just like the colloquialism. Because at first I wasn't sure, and I'm like, is he talking about the book? I think he's talking about the book. Because we've had a past guest, the Written Writ Ralph, come on, and he's a writer and has a whole stream and working with writers and giving prompts. And we've talked at length about the hero's journey, the work itself, and just on how that is a launching point for so many things. And it's just an allegory for all of the things that we find and love nowadays. And I just think it's so exciting that he would have never known that his work would one day inspire a chandler, a candle maker, to tell a story through candles.
Yeah, through the nose.
That's awesome. Are you a writer too?
I do. I like to write.
Of course he is. He fixes boats. You are the Kerouac of candle making. That's what I've decided.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, well now this just got a lot more interesting. It was plenty interesting already, but I just love that, and I hope that everyone who watches this video in the future or whatever knows that these candles aren't just like schlock. Like anybody could launch into this fantasy realm like, oh, D&D players will eat this shit up. But it was actually born from something real and like through your own struggle, and you latched on to Campbell's words and oriented them into your own story to tell more stories through candles.
Yeah.
That's sick as fuck, Wyl.
And I appreciate that so much.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So then on the D&D level, like, who are you finding are your like go-to customers? Like, I know it feels more D&D related. So is that like the target market, or that's just seem to be the people that latched on to it most? So then you're serving them, or just happen to work out that way?
Yeah, so initially it really wasn't. I didn't really have like my audience down. So I just, someone said, "Hey, take this to a Renaissance festival and see what happens." So I did, and all kinds of people love it. Just about everyone you tell the story to is like, "Whoa!" Even if you're not into tabletop, if you're just into like any kind of like even watching a movie, immersing yourself in a movie. We have like a zombie candle, which you'll never watch a zombie movie the same after you burn the zombie candle while watching a zombie movie. It's just like, whoa. So, all kinds of people are attracted to it. But what I found was that the D&Ders and the tabletop gamers, they understood stories. They understood storytelling, and they could really, like you, appreciate like the art form that I was trying to go for. Like they really, I felt the most appreciation, and I felt understood and seen the most by them. And they loved it. They people loved them. They loved to like introduce them to their groups and stuff, and like them during their campaigns. And it just brings me a lot of joy, like to hear the stories and stuff that they tell, and how it inspired them, or what they interpreted the treasures meaning and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's kind of like our audience right now is the tabletop gamers.
I never thought about actually lighting this during a movie to like just enhance that feeling. That's a great idea, and now I'm probably going to go on and buy a bundle of them for the movies and tabletop. But because our audience is probably most likely to watch this because they are D&D players, how would you suggest incorporating these candles into the story in like a practical sense? Because the story changes so often, and these candles are bulky and have one scent. Am I right by saying that?
Well, they're layered. So the top will be a scent. The The middle will be a scent, and the base, just like a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Okay.
So what's cool, for instance, like with the zombie candle, is it starts off smelling like a cabin in the woods. You know,
Of
you're like,
course
okay,
it
I
does.
get this, and then one day, or you're lighting it, and after some time, you're gonna smell this like sudden change. Still really pleasant, but the idea was it's like, oh wait, it smells like zombies are here. Like this is, I can tell there's been a change going on here. And the base of that one smells like dirt because that's where zombies come from. So that's just a clever ending to it all. Um, but yeah, I think it does change. You can incorporate that into it as well, into your game. So that's really fun. But also, depending on sort of the setting of your story or where you're headed in the story, you can get the right candle to sort of set the mood for that campaign, or to elicit a new kind of inspiration may come from burning a candle or having a scent burning while you're playing.
Yeah, almost like music can, like I play music during my D&D games, and there's sometimes where the music just hits and it just makes me want to lead my players into something next, or it just perfectly aligns. And so I never thought that scent could do the same thing, but it's got notes just like music.
Very much so.
And now I'm thinking of like getting a candle and based on its burn time and scent, creating a one shot that, as long as we stay on track, which is not a D&D thing, we don't do that, but you could create a whole one shot purely around that one candle.
Absolutely. Yeah. Several D&Ders have done that.
What's the burn time on these things?
So I like to underestimate it because obviously we test like crazy. Most of them will burn about 50 hours, except for the high seas, which is around 40.
Okay, so an average D&D session. Yeah.
Yeah, they last a long time. That's something where
It's like a whole campaign.
Not only is it a cool, clever candle, it's a high quality. Like I'd like to think I'm really good candle maker, not just pretty, but it's gonna last. It's gonna burn nice, have all the elements of a really high end candle, and not just some cheap candle that you can't smell it after a while, or it's overwhelming, or it smells toxic, or something like this. So, yeah, it's made to last.
What is the difference between a quality candle versus I don't want to say cheap candles, because like it not about the price, but like a quality candle versus a less quality candle. Talk to a dumbass like me who just buys one off the shelf because it smells good, not knowing anything about it, not reading the ingredients. What should I be looking for in a candle?
Probably first and foremost, you're going to look at the wick. Some candle makers, there's like metal in the wick because it helps the wick stay upright. And I can see how that's important for functionality, and it is, but you're burning metal, and I don't particularly like that. And also like the fragrances
get in the way of the smell.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't particularly like that. I use a hemp wick in all of mine with beeswax, and beeswax is really good for your environment. It helps purify the air, and also just really high quality fragrances. So there's a lot of different fragrance manufacturers, and some of them use different bases for the carrier, and you want to use one that has like a really high quality. As candle makers, we're not required to put like exactly what is in the candle. So you have to buy from a trusted source, someone that is using quality ingredients in their candles. But anybody that burns candles frequently can oftentimes tell, like, just because there's like, it's hard to describe, but there's like this, like, kind of like certain colognes have a lot of alcohol in them. And when you put it on, you can really smell that alcohol carrier.
Right.
It's like the candles, like, cheap candles have this cheap carrier oil that they're using, and it's like kerosene, and it's very off-putting. Like I don't want to be around that smell when I smell that. Yeah.
So you said you go through extensive testing. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
You just wave a bunch of cards in front of your face. You're like, that's not right. Or Do you have focus groups?
Mhm.
Or is there like a
Um,
pH level tester? I'm getting into the weeds
yeah,
of
and
candle making tonight, and I had no idea that I
cool.
cared this much about it, but I do.
Yeah, at any given time at the candle factory, there will be 20 candles lit. And I'll take one from every other batch and test it to make sure that it's going to burn correctly, evenly, and how it to my standard. There's variations in the ingredients and the wax, the raw materials that we get. So, I constantly have to be testing it to ensure that it's a quality product. So that's what I mean by we're always testing them, is that either I'm giving them to Paul or my friends to burn them and say, hey, make sure this is burning good. Give me some feedback on it. Or, like I said, every morning we're lighting the candles to ensure, like, okay, everything's looking good. Little notes, make little micro adjustments to ensure that it's quality each time.
Do you have fear of going nose blind to your own product?
Oh my gosh, when COVID came around and people were losing their sense of smell,
Yes.
that was for me as a candle maker / storyteller telling my story to people at the Renaissance Festival. I was devastated. I'm like, wait, can you smell this? Wait, let me try this one. Can you smell this one? And I was just like, yeah, I was kind of gutted. That would be super wild if something happened to my sense of smell. But yeah, I don't worry about it too much. I'm kind of like a Taoist though, because I'll say that because for every beautiful smell that I have smelled in my life, there has been an equal disgusting smell. I've got 2 kids, so
And that's where Toad's breath comes from, doesn't it?
yeah.
What has been the trickiest? Well, let me ask you this. Let me go back and start this. Do you write the lyrics and then the melody, or the melody and then the lyrics? In the way of, do you think of a scent and then try to match it, or do you like create a candle first and just see what happens? You're like, oh, that smells like dragon's blood.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm in the lab and I'm making those scents, something unique will emerge, and some sort of memories will be triggered. Scent and memory have this amazing connection, and it is fascinating sometimes what happens. Discover a smell for the first time, or maybe the first time I'm smelling it. But it's both. Like, I've made custom candles for people, and depending on like what they're trying to do. So if I'm coming from that angle, I'm very familiar with all the smells, and I can sort of go from there. But other times something new will emerge, and I'll go, whoa, this smells like this. This smells like a candy store, and like a vintage candy store. And it's hard to say, well, what the heck does that smell like? But when you smell it, like, wait, actually, I can smell that. I can see how you thought that. And it's also cool how it's another way to like connect with other people, because when they smell, like, I can see how you came up with this. I can now people smell the toad's breath. They're like, yeah, actually, I see how you came up with toad's breath. So it's kind of neat how we sort of share this experience when it comes to the olfactory sense.
Like, if it were me and I smelled something like that, I might fear that maybe it's triggering that emotion for me, but maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe it's like my own past trauma coming out through a candle. Like, is that where you pass it on to Paul? You're like, smell this, and you're shoving cards in people's faces to see if they also elicit that same kind of reaction?
Yeah, definitely. You never know how a scent is going to affect somebody. So I call them grandfather scents. I feel like our grandfather, if he was in a trade, like mine was an automotive mechanic for 30 years. So there's certain smells in an automotive garage. Boom, I'm thinking of grandpa. Or if your dad was a carpenter, that smell of cut wood, And it's really cool when people like. The highest compliment for me is when someone's like, "Wow, that reminds me of my grandmother." I love when I hear stuff like that, because it's really inspiring. I think how scent can sort of carry a memory for each of us.
50 years ago, not that you're 50, let's say 30 years ago, did you have any idea this is what your life would look like?
I don't think I could say so. Life has definitely been an amazing journey, though, for sure. It's as if, like I'm living in a book sometimes because it's just so fantastic how it all comes together. Other times it's falling apart and it's like a horror show. But even in the midst the chaos, I'm still like, wow, what a profound experience to live.
Yeah. That's how I know you're a writer. You Jack Kerouac, you. Then Paul, let us know what are you doing to help tell this story? Because like when I first was looking at your guys' socials and your website, like I kind of got a feel of it. But now talking to you both, like this shit runs so much deeper than I anticipated. And I love it. And I really hope that somehow that can come across in the product and in the marketing and in your sales. So how are you mixed into this, Paul?
So, and Will can attest. It started off as something simple, and then it gradually evolved with my interest and adapting skill set. So initially, it was, hey, Will was like, can you help me find stores to sell it? So I was like, you know what? At first, I was targeting smoke shops. I went to areas that I'll be honest, were kind of sketchy. But I thought, maybe the sketchy areas, people have the real money. So I try to think like a marketing guy, go underground, you get the moolah. So, at first,
Especially that
didn't really
Wizard's
work.
weed
disappointed me.
shop, right?
Yeah, the Weed Wizard.
Yeah, sometimes it's not always about being street legal. Just saying. But anyway, um, but after that, Will said, "Well, Paul, you live in Orlando. You keep talking about all these cons you go to, like the anime and the gaming." I'm like, "You're right. I go to them. Can you book them for me?" And I was like, "Well," I was like, "Bro, I have no idea how to book anything. I just rent out a book at a library. That's the extent of my knowledge." But I said, "You know what? I've been given a challenge." So we started off being at a boba shop with amazing drinks. I even met back then his head fairy Tori, who she learned my first antics and know what I like. And it was small. I made a couple sales. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm ready for bigger. So we did Tampa Bay Comic Con. We went to Collecticon Orlando. Eventually, we even got us a whole Renaissance fair. So I've learned to expand, go bigger and better. But then Will posed me another challenge. All right, you got events down. Great. What about the connectors, the influencers, the celebs? I was thinking, you know what? I'm on Whatnot a lot, so like I said, I love to buy Pokemon. So I actually found a person I've been buying cards from for 2 years. I messaged her saying, "Hey, we have this cool candle concept. Would you like one to light up?" She's like, "Oh my gosh, I love candles!" So the first streamer influencer was born, but that was not enough for me. Will kept seeing me, he could test over and over. I went to these cons to pitch and pitch and pitch. Eventually, we got our first celebrity sponsorship called the Saska Sisters. You guys should follow them. They're the most amazing, beautiful women in the world. But that's for another video. But regardless, I gave them the whole CandleQuest. They immediately posted us and they said, "We love you guys so much. Let's do a custom based on our movie American Mary." So we even made a custom it was a pyramid candle based on their
Cool.
horror movie. It's all sold out now, unfortunately. But that to me was the first time of saying that if one celeb group sponsors, imagine where we could go from here. So I'm sorry if that was a little long-winded.
And you worked your way all the way up, and finally you're here on 4 Geeks by Geeks. You've made it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You've reached your peak. I'm so proud.
Thank you.
Yeah. Paul carries a special enthusiasm with the candles, and I think he really connected with the story, and he was really able to like appreciate it, And I really like that about him, and he's real positive, and he loves the quest. It's a great way to connect with people, and people respond well to it, and I think he likes that a lot. So yeah, Paul's enthusiasm carries us when we're on like the 5th or 6th weekend of the Renaissance Festival, and my like Old English accent is wearing very thin. He keeps me going and inspired.
Yeah.
He's every day shows up full of vigor and like, we're gonna do this. I'm like, yeah, man. So he keeps me going for sure.
Then, Paul, I gotta know, after all of these years, 3 years now that you've been doing this, or no, so I'm sorry, a year.
2.
But
Two.
when you met Wyl on the street during New Year's, there was something that pushed you to say yes. Even the next day, when you were looking back, you're like, what the hell did I say yes to? But there was something that caused you to say yes in that moment. What was it?
So Will can even attest this. At the time, while I was actually six months into this and the chemist role I'm in now, but I was honestly kind of just frustrated, like, oh, I'm doing all this, I'm learning cool things on the corporate side, but it feels really overwhelming and I'll be at times tedious and boring. Not gonna sugarcoat it. But when Will presented this to me, and it wasn't at first, it wasn't even so much like, can I make $1 million? It was more of like, this is something unique and like in my realm of fantasy. I'm a fantasy gaming lover. So I thought, could I put what of all these years of me playing games and loving to come and like to try cool things, could this be something I could make a living out of? So I took the challenge, and it's had it's a ups and downs, and I've had stumbles along the way, but I'm glad he took me under his wing and taught me through thick and thin.
That's awesome. What are you gaming right now, by the way?
Oh, so actually I've been playing a little bit of the Kirby Air Ride on the Nintendo Switch 2.
Kirby. Okay. I was just playing Kirby literally earlier today. Not Air Ride, but different Kirby. It still slaps even after all these years. Will,
I
are
actually
you?
want to get the new Mario Kart.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Mario Kart.
No, I want to get the new Mario Kart, but reviews like have been so bad that I'd stay away.
Sorry, Nintendo. Will, are you a gamer?
I am when I have the time. We opened up our coffee shop called Dr. Drips about 2 months ago, and I've been living off coffee, the scent of coffee, for some time now. So currently, I just work a lot.
Now, when you're trying to like kind of rid your smell of like your nose of smell, oftentimes you'll sniff coffee beans. Has that enhanced
That's right.
your ability to create new scents in CandleQuest?
It definitely has had an interesting effect on my sense of smell. And going back into the lab,
Interesting.
it's I have a newfound appreciation, and yeah, it's really cool actually, the synergy between the two.
So do we have any new scents coming down the pike, not yet released?
Yeah, we have something in the works. We were thinking of doing collaborating with the Saska sisters. They have a comic book that they do as well. So we thought maybe it'd be cool to have like a companion candle for your comic book. So we're working. That's in the works now.
Interesting. No, I think that's a great idea. I love that like you're constantly thinking of how can we augment these candles to highlight other stories in grander ways. So I hear comic books.
Yeah.
I hear movies. I hear D&D.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be really great. Maybe someone watching this podcast will know, but it'd be really cool if like when they drop the new Resident Evil or something, like there was like a companion candle with that. I would love that challenge of like, we need a official Resident Evil candle. And I would love to make that candle and bring it to life, and maybe like as a pre-release or something, people could get it. So.
Well, let me talk to my people and see if I can pull some strings.
Yeah, you can do it.
I have no
On-
strings, Will. None at all.
Actually, on that, little spoiler is I've talked to some game developers. Nothing, finalized written contract, but the coolest concept is, let's say we had the Resident Evil candle. You could inside would actually be a pin or token that will unlock an exclusive in-game collectible that's only unique through our candle, kind of like the Nintendo Amiibo.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody in the audience. Okay, so you understand what I'm
Yes.
saying. Okay.
It's a great
That'll be-
idea. Okay, now I see. I mean, I already saw, but there's one more reason why Paul is an integral member of this team. And
He
I saw
is, and
earlier today.
he was saved.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He's been saved in my phone since the night we met as Paul the Genius, because he's always coming up with these great ideas.
There you go. Not just a
There
platinum
it is.
prince. But I saw you're already collaborating with like the likes of Cantina 13, who are close friends of ours. And so you're well on your way.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's super cool. I can't wait to get one of these and just like I'm gonna have to get multiple because for movies, for D&D, for all the things. But
Yeah.
like honestly, mostly because I know the creators behind it and like the heart that went into the concept. Like I am so much more likely, and I know so many people out there, they don't want to just buy schlock. Like we're being fed schlock every day. Like even on socials, everything's becoming less and less authentic. And how can we manipulate your emotions to buy what we're selling? But it sounds like from the get-go, you just purely came from a storytelling aspect, from wanting to highlight other stories through a different avenue of scent. And I think that's fucking amazing. Well, really.
Thank you so much.
I think that's so cool.
Thank you. You know, you're people like you are the reason that keep me going. You know, because you're able to see it and like appreciate it, and not everyone can, and so it means so much to hear someone say, you know, that's cool, man. I get it. So I appreciate that.
Now, I'm a romantic at heart, and I gotta believe that people like you who do this for the right reasons will and do find success. And since you've been doing it since 2014, I'm hoping that means that you have found success and you will continue to find even greater success because you deserve it. You're not doing it for the
Thank you.
wrong, stupid marketing reasons. As a marketer myself, I know I've peddled some shit without the heart behind it, but I'm like, well, that's what I gotta do. But you're doing it and by hand, like you are doing it. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
And you deserve to be highlighted. And I am honored that you decided to give me a moment of your time here on 4 Geeks by Geeks.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Really cool talking to you. And
You guys, go buy a fucking candle. If you haven't already, use command candle and go to CandleQwest.com. Grab one or two or all of them. Just for somebody that's like, I don't know, are they too pricey? What are the prices run on these things?
I think right now we have them listed at.
So we have a couple things going on. We have just a candle on itself is the main line. The quest is one is 50. We have a special 2 for 80. If you want to do a full quest, which is all 7 plus the king, only available via the bundle, is 300, and our unique moon candle will run you at 40.
And you said they burn for 50 hours or 40 hours, so that sounds like $1 an hour, which seems really worth it because you know it's good quality. It's made by hand from somebody that cares and tested every inch of that candle, and it tells a story, and hopefully it inspires you to go further your own story in a brand new way or enhance a story that you already love. I picture reading, like pick up your favorite romantasy, buy this candle, and just dissolve, completely disappear into the world.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
Totally.
can we be friends?
For sure.
Good. I said from the get-go, this channel, my involvement in this channel has never been about anything beyond making some more friends in this space because I just get to meet some of the most incredible people. And every week I have got to meet an amazing human that I'm like, yep, I think I want them at my funeral. So
Yeah,
burn one of
appreciate
those, burn frog's breath at my funeral for me.
that.
But I can't wait to pick one up. You guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This has been a real pleasure.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having us on, and we're gonna send you a care package tomorrow. So keep your send over your information, and we got you.
What? I mean, I won't say no to a candle, especially one made by you guys. I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn that thing when it's
Yeah,
you say
you're gonna-
50 hours. It's gonna be 10, and I'm like, it's all gone. I don't know how, but oh, my last question was from somebody that really wanted to know, from a candle professional. Is it true that if you tent aluminum foil over a candle that it won't create that annoying rim that never burns?
Yeah, so depending on where you stop the burn, especially if it's a pyramid shape, if you say it gets halfway and you extinguish the candle and you try to relight it, the pool is not going to be large enough to sort of burn correctly. So one technique you can do is for a short while, put a bit of tinfoil around there to increase the heat. And once the pool gets large enough, you're good to go. You can take the tinfoil off. So yeah, that is a good little hack that you can do for optimal candle burning.
There you have it from a professional himself. You guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight for tonight's Geek Out Sesh. Keep coming back. We have more guests down the pike for 2026, but we're not done with this year. Next week, we're going to be doing a live watch party of a channel family fan favorite, Tris Rex, who created his own Alien movie in his backyard with his incredible SFX that you guys all know and love. So come back next week. We're going to be watching that, and we're going to have a Q&A with some of the cast then. But all of you who are candle fans and hopefully soon to be, if not already, CandleQwest fans, make sure you go buy some extra, especially for the holidays. You got to have some for the holidays. Makes a great gift. It's not just a candle. It's a CandleQwest candle. But until next time,
You got it.
I am Bozer. I didn't tell you guys this. This is when you say your names.
I'm Wyl the Wizard.
I'm Paul the Platinum Prince.
And you just keep, say, geeking out. Geeking out. Bye-bye.
Hello.